Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. This is JR, founder and CEO of Social Market.
Hey, my name's Leon Hitchens. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Social Market.
And this is Social Ledger Report, our podcast where we talk about the last week's biggest stories on crypto, finance, and anything in between. This week we have actually some pretty big bangers. ZZ came back to Binance. Well, that was last week, but a lot happened this week. Probably the best week that Binance has had out of the year. Now, as far as our first story, Binance. So, like I said, it probably had its best week in all of 2025. First, so in the last week, we actually saw an all-time high of about $1,079, or about 1,080 almost. And the reason why is because, if in case you saw this last week, CZ came back. He got out of jail like almost a year ago, and
Yeah,
he's
almost a year exactly, I feel like.
yeah. So I know he was in jail for in 2024 for about a few months, and then he got out and then he joined back Binance, and it kind of took a while for him to join back Binance, but on Twitter, which I should actually open it up. Okay, yeah, so on Twitter, that's where he added his at Binance handle on Twitter, and that kind of exploded the market for Binance and a couple other things which I'll go over here, which is why it reached $1,000. Well, anyways, this is from Binance Square, the report here, and this is from September 17th. It says, breaking, CZ's strong return to Binance, question mark. BNB Treasury's trillion yuan plan exposed, and price hits historic high of $1,000. So it's a pretty long and detailed report. You can look at it if you want. We'll leave the link in the description. So the 3 points that I want to cover are, as CZ outlines support for his increasing institutional interest, the financial plan for BNB gained traction. And then reportedly, amid the possibility of the Department of Justice lifting compliance restrictions, speculation about his return to Binance has intensified after ZZ reverted the X profile back to at Binance. So that's kind of what I mentioned. Like, he added back the handle of Binance in his handle. So, everybody was losing their minds. And then last week, BNB price reached a historic high of $962. And analysts predict the price will soar to $1,000 as investors refocus. And as of a week later, it reached a new all-time high of $1,080, or 79 if you will. That's probably, Binance is already pretty popular around the world. It's used where, if not in the US as of yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 4 years we see Binance finally being able to have its presence in the US. But that's kind of like the biggest news for Binance. But second thing that I want to cover here is Aster. Now, a lot of you may not be as active on Binance or don't even know what Aster is. I just learned about it this week. But for those of you who don't know, you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can kind of read this on your own. But if you're tuning in on audio, Aster, the complete guide to decentralized perpetual exchange. This link is from CoinGecko, and they kind of give you an overview here. Aster is a decentralized exchange offering spot and perpetual tradings of crypto and stock derivatives. It's kind of a mouthful word. With up to 1001x leverage across multiple blockchains. So there's 3 key points about this DEX, why it's different than, like, say, Uniswap, SushiSwap, PancakeSwap, you name it. I think PancakeSwap is mostly used in Binance. I've used it before. I don't use Binance as much, but I use mostly like Solana and Ethereum. Well, anyways, what makes Aster different, it's by these three key points. So the first one, yield-bearing collateral. Users earn passive income on their collateral through as BNB, liquid staking tokens, and USDF stablecoin while actively trading. So to me, what it means is, if you've used Polymarket before and you have like a long-term position on a bet, on a prediction market, you could actually earn passive income sort of thing where it will pay dividends just by holding that position. Now, not financial advice, but what I often do is I will hold that position, and then if I feel like my outcome will not pay itself, I just withdraw. So we can probably see similar activity happening by this feature. The second one, explosive growth. The Aster token surged over 1,500% after launch, which is backed by YZI Labs and endorsed by ZZ himself and Mr. Beast's $114,000 purchase. So right now, the Aster token is at about $1.94 as of recording of this podcast, but in September 19th, it was sitting at about 87 cents and a volume of 615 million. Now, its all-time high was in September 24th. Its price reached $2.31 and had a volume of 2.43 billion. So right now, it's at $1.24 billion volume. So we've seen, almost $1 billion in volume decrease from all the hype. Well, anyways, its last key feature for Aster as a DEX is there's more privacy here, or key features are hidden orders for privacy, dual trading modes such as Simple and Pro, and multi-chain support across BNB Chain, Ethereum, Solana, and Arbitrum. So Ethereum is a layer 1, Solana is a layer 1, BNB is a layer 1, and Arbitrum is a layer 2. So what's interesting about that is while they have their own networks, they all have their own tokens. So what this means is you can probably trade Binance-based tokens to Solana-based tokens, and you don't have to pay as much in fees if you had to sell it in Coinbase and then transfer that money to another platform where you can buy a particular BNB token sort of thing. So that's kind of like the utility behind it. I'm actually bullish on Aster, given everything. I'm probably going to add some Aster to my portfolio. I don't know if it's available on Coinbase for you to just buy it off directly, but what people will often do is they will use these decentralized exchanges like Aster, and they'll swap their USDC or even USDT for Aster. That's kind of like the state of everything right now with Aster and with Binance. One more thing
I
I'll
don't know
say,
where
though.
you can buy it. I was actually, while you were talking, I was trying to connect my wallet to Aster and see.
Okay.
I know they have an airdrop going on. I think you have to participate in something to get that airdrop. I've never quite been able to catch airdrops fully, but it's kind of interesting. You've got CZ's return. He committed a lot of crimes in the United States on just regulation points. But his come to is being called Binance's golden era. I think he will push a lot of innovation and expansion. But that Aster DEX token, it's interesting that it's Binance ecosystem integration. It's also kind of just pushing in there of speculation that Binance may list Aster soon. I don't think there's anywhere you can buy it at the moment except through Aster or those swaps in there. There's a lot of liquidity incentives early on right now. I'm just reading through it and I'm okay, that makes a lot of sense. And it's just kind of showing Binance is back. It's leading a new bull narrative, and Aster's also centralized and decentralized products can rise together under that Binance umbrella. It's kind of cool to see all of that happening together.
Well, first, I think I would try connecting to a VPN, connecting to another place around the world. Outside of the US, I think anywhere in Europe it should work as far as using Binance. And if there's an IP restriction with Aster, try checking PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap is, really good with Binance-based tokens, or even Orca. I think Orca.
Yeah, I would have to probably do something like that.
Yeah, so I'm just telling you what I would do, not financial advice. That's what I would probably do after this to get some Aster tokens. Well, anyways, so one more thing I'll talk about this matter is right before we started this podcast, Leon, I was on Twitter and I joined this this room where you can talk to people, and they were talking about Aster. And ZZ himself actually joined there, and he was answering questions from the community. So one, that's amazing. Two, this post from Dakwando, which is, books. This person made this post, said, ZZ from Binance just set the bar so high for all central exchanges / DEX founders, blockchain founders, and founders leaders in general. Not only did he join the Aster community on Spaces, okay, so it's called Spaces, that's what I forgot, but he's answering questions and educating us ahead on this type of leader, ZZ Binance. That was kind of a mouthful post. Anyways, so I was there for a minute, and I wasn't able to speak. You had to raise your hand before you could join and talk. But ZZ, if I remember correctly, he was just kind of telling people at the point that I joined, he was just telling people like how it's supposed to work. Aster itself is supposed to let you do different things more than just being a decentralized exchange where you can just swap tokens like you could with a unit swap or something. When he was talking about perpetuities, that means in a hidden manner, it means you just don't have an order book that tells you this address made this purchase or this sell at X timestamp. It simply is supposed to show you like I think there is supposed to show you like a hidden type of order book, but you just can't associate the address with it. So it's kind of like Monero, where if you're familiar with Monero, you can make transactions. Yeah, with Monero, you can make transactions on the blockchain where it's normally supposed to be pretty visible. You can track wallets, but you just don't have that functionality where you cannot track wallets. So Monero is private like that, and I think Aster is trying to follow suit as well. And ZZ a long time ago on Twitter made a comment saying that order books are pretty exploitable because someone is trying to buy a position, other people will follow suit, like kind of like tracking insider trading sort of thing. I can see the value behind it, but that's as far as I know and as far as he told us while I was in that room. So it was pretty interesting to be there and actually hear out ZZ himself. So that was pretty cool experience. But yeah, other than that, I think this is pretty much all I wanted to cover as far as ZZ and Binance biggest week out of the year. Pretty exciting stuff. I would keep an eye out on Aster. That would be my only advice and suggestion on people. Like keep an eye on it, track it, name it. If you want to purchase the token, that's up to you.